an AMI digital exclusive.
I'm Susann Keohane. I work for IBM. I'm the Global Research Lead for our Aging Initiative, and I'm at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. I started off 10 years in IBM research, and my focus was on making technology accessible to people with disabilities. I participated in W3C, and what we realized is that aging was, for me, a logical transition, because as you age, often you acquire a disability, but even more interesting is people don't often associate with a core disability. So there's all this assistive technology we're building that they might not know about, they might not identify with, but the same root problem is there. There's a barrier to technology, and how do we remove that barrier? So if we can do that, I think we can really improve the lives of the elderly and how they interact with technology and how they stay connected to their friends, their family, and get the information they need to be independent longer and stay healthier. IBM accessibility is really important, not only for our employees, but for the products we create and to the clients that we want to sell our products to. We're an enterprise company, and we deliver solutions worldwide. And diversity and our core values enable us to be inclusive, enable us to lead the charge in this area. I personally think when we started carrying around a pretty highly sophisticated computer called a smartphone, we mainstreamed accessibility, because what it did is now people are in noisy environments and they have to have captions, or they're in poor lit environments and they need light. And at conferences like this, everything is about adapting to an individual, their needs, and good design is inclusive design. The more adaptive and accessible you can make something, it becomes a better product. And we have shown that time and time again, to the point where our company is a believer in making accessible products and believing in diversity, that it matters, and putting people like me focused on it. Yes, so we have a phenomenal blind colleague. She's an IBM fellow, which is as high as you can get technically in IBM. Her name is Chieko Asukawa. She is doing research right now that she calls it a Little Birdie. And it has a camera pointing outwards, and that camera can start to do recognition of people in our lives. Not only does it recognize who the person is, it starts to recognize how they're feeling. Are they smiling? Do they look sad? Are their shoulders kind of slouched over? So it can tell her who the person is and that person looks happy. And that kind of stuff is really important, because it gives you more context that a person who is blind might be missing. She has a TED Talk. I highly recommend it, and she's an amazing, amazing person. But that's the kind of technology that we're working on, and I think that kind of stuff will become more ubiquitous and pervasive as we move forward with technology being every aspect of our lives. What I think is interesting, and it's not with losing sight, but my mother started to lose her hearing, and she has hearing aids, and we were watching TV, and she took out her hearing aids because they were bothering her. And I looked over and I turned on closed captioning, and I knew about closed captioning because of what I do, but she didn't. She had no idea that her TV could have captioning. And what I realized, she was missing the whole contents of the show until I turned on closed captioning. And she's like, "What is this?" And I told her what it was, and she's like, "Is it on my TV?" And I said, "Yeah, it's on your TV." I go, "It's for people who are deaf." But she's like, "But I'm not deaf," because she acquired the disability, so she didn't really relate to having the disability. And I think that's the discussion we need to have is, how do we enable, especially the elder population or the aging population, to understand that there are these technologies out there, and there shouldn't be any stigma about using it, because it's just really important that we figure this part of it out.
Visit ami.ca for more accessible media.